All right. You can go ahead and bring us in whenever thy is ready, sir.
All right. Hello, hello. We're back here with Eurosteppin. I'm Kevin Brown, and this person with me is Donald Jackson.
Okay, full governments. We out here.
Yumi
Full
style.
governments. It's too late. How's it going, bro? How you been?
I've been all right. I've been all right. Better than some people are in this world.
I feel that. I feel that. A little bit of a hater statement, but I feel that.
I'm no Deshaun Watson, you see.
Oh my God. Okay. Yikes. This is how we're starting, bro. We're talking about
We'll
Deshaun
get into
Watson.
it a little bit later, but
Jesus, just coming out of pocket off a rip, like.
uh, but how have you been?
We have been chilling. We've been chilling. Um, Sort of been a little bit out the sports loop, but getting ourselves back into it. How about yourself?
A lot of sports. Recovering still from a surgery, so I'm just watching sports.
Yeah, you have infinite time at this point. Like
Yeah. So sports.
sports. But all right. What do you want to start with this week? What do you want to talk about? What you
I
got?
feel like the most exciting thing right now in sports is and will continue to be college football at the moment.
Oh, I agree. I agree.
Um, what do you think is a better place to start? I got three like spots going like either Heisman, projecting our championship, or looking at the games this week to see like the most meaningful, important games this week.
Um, we could start with Heisman. I feel like Heisman is sort of a debate that's really come down between two people. In my opinion, I think it's a one-man race. Um, a one-man race against history in the record
Mm.
books. But we can go ahead and start with Heisman. Who do you think who do you think deserves to win the Heisman? Who do you got? What you want to talk about the Heisman?
Um,
Because I know who I'm going with for the Heisman.
Right now, if you're looking at betting odds, it's a three-man race, led by the guy I think that deserves to win it, Ashton Genty.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, I said Ashton Genty.
Yeah, I know
Um,
you add a little bit of pizzazz onto it.
gotta add that zest. Right now, I mean, he had 1,248 yards, 17 touchdowns. He has not fumbled the ball
That's actually
a single
crazy.
time. He did catch a receiving touchdown last game against Hawaii, so he's even finally gotten it done on through the air at some point this season. I want to say a big test for him comes tomorrow against or tonight, I guess, against UNLV. I'm gonna get into it a little bit later, but as of right now, Ashton Genty's kind of put Boise State where they're that I don't know if you've seen the full like how to get into the 12-team playoff, but the top five ranked conference winners all get in right now. Boise State would be that fifth team winning the Mountain West. Um, so he's kind of gotten him in a spot with just his legs to possibly be in a playoff situation.
I agree. Me personally, I know the last time we spoke about this, I was making a case for Ashton Genty. I know the race was a little bit more between him and Travis Hunter, but with Travis Hunter missing time recently, um, I think the race has basically become Genty versus the record books, as I said earlier. Bro, he's on pace to breaking Barry Sanders like all time record. And I don't think
Yeah,
people really realize and are talking about this as much as we should. Like, this is
it's
a
great. Like
very
the
special season.
he was able to do, everybody thought was going to be untouchable, unheard of, unspoken things. It, this guy, like, and yeah, people can say whatever they want. He's doing it at Boise State, blah blah blah, Mountain West Conference.
I won't even
It's
let
all
that
yeah,
slide. I won't even let that slide because this man played. in my opinion, the top team in the country, or one of the top teams in the country inside the Oregon Ducks, and he still put up 192 rushing yards, bro. So I
192, 3 touchdowns, 7.7 yards per carry.
like you can't use his conference like against him. I feel like regardless what conference he's in, he's putting up similar numbers, if not the same numbers. Like
and the stats you're seeing now too are like he's not playing full games. Like he's getting taken out
he's
whenever
getting
they're blowing
benched.
out these teams. Like imagine how many yards he could have gotten against like I think he got taken out against Portland State, against Utah State. Like how many more yards, how many more touchdowns he could have gotten if he played entire games against these teams. Like, you know, right now, the betting odds have it as a three-man race with John T. They have Cameron Ward coming in second and Dylan Gabriel in third. I think Ashton Genty is fully taking it by storm, and I think this week, as I'm saying, is a big week for him to prove that he deserves it. A big week for Boise State in general. Um, I'm trying to look up real quick what their schedule's looking like for the rest of the season.
I have it pulled up in
Um,
front of me. So they have UNLV. Couldn't get that right.
yes.
They have them tonight. Then next week they have San Diego State, Nevada, San Jose State, Wyoming, and then they end the season against Oregon State. So in terms of difficulty with their schedule, I feel like they should be able to take most of these games. UNLV, struggling to say that. Taj Mahal has been killing it over there. Ever since that one guy opted out.
Yeah.
They've been looking good.
Polka.
Yes, yeah. Ever since he opted out, they got their guy. I know they've been calling him Taj Mahal, so we're gonna go ahead and roll with that. But I feel
Mm.
like them in Oregon State are probably their toughest opponents. San Jose
Yeah.
State isn't really like a pushover either. They could do something, but I feel like their
Yeah.
next toughest games are probably those three. But other than that, I feel like they're walking out this season with maybe one more loss if they do take one, and maybe finish the season with two losses, if anything.
Yeah, I think this game coming here against UNLV, which if you don't know, they play in Allegiant Stadium. Um,
Beautiful
and
stadium.
it's going to be in Allegiant Stadium, so I'd imagine there's going to be quite a few people there. It's a big game, big player. This is probably going to be the biggest game remaining of this season for them, and if he can get by this, like you said, San Jose State has a decent defense. Oregon State's a decent overall team. If he can get through this game, I think Boise State has a strong chance to win out. Um, make their conference and everything, which they'll probably be playing UNLV in that conference championship game. It looks like it's between UNLV, San Jose State still has a chance, but if they beat San Jose State later, it'll probably just be UNLV again. Um, it's definitely their biggest obstacle this week. If he and Boise State can overcome that, one, I don't think there's a debate for Heisman, and two, I think he's just bringing them to the playoffs.
And shout out to Cam Ward as well, because Cam Ward is having a great season, but also it's like those Hurricanes have been bailed out by ref ball. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it a couple times this year, and it's sort of really hard to, you know, put some backbone in his case when it's like there's been a couple games where he should have lost them, in my opinion. But Cam Ward's having a great season. Dylan Gabriel, honestly, I did not expect him to be good this season. He's definitely shut me up. Oregon in general has shut me up because I'm a huge Oregon fan just because of uniforms, but their football team has always been you never know what you're really gonna get until maybe halfway through the season, in my opinion. And I feel like Oregon has definitely stepped up this season and proved a lot of people wrong. I feel like a lot of people did not have them being this high in the nation at number one, especially, but just being this good of a team, especially early on. So
Yeah, I think where Cam Ward struggles in terms of the Heisman is I think it's going to be kind of an MVP type situation where if your team isn't in those top 12 teams that make the playoffs, and it's not top 12, like I said, if you're one of the highest ranking of the five conferences, technically you could be a 25 ranked team and make it into the playoffs with all technicalities. But I feel like if you're not in that 12 team playoff, you're not going to win the Heisman now
Mm-hmm.
with how big it is. Cam Ward has been performing phenomenal. Showed some weakness, like you said, starting back a couple weeks ago. I think you talking about the ref ball, it goes for these last 3 weeks where he threw two picks against Virginia Tech. They still managed to win by
Right.
four. They go to Cal, a couple plays happen late. They win by 1 point. They go to Louisville last week. He throws a phenomenal game, but still there are a couple questionable calls. They win by 7. And in that, like, they're scoring huge amounts of points. They just don't have a defense backing up Cam Ward, and I think that at the end of the day is what's going to hold him back is them getting a couple losses. Like, hey, whenever rivalry games happen, you never know what is going to happen.
Correct. I feel
All of
that.
that. They play Florida State this week. Florida State,
Exciting matchup.
god awful team, god awful.
Right.
But this is a big, big rivalry. If you don't know, the Florida State Miami rivalry goes back very far. Um, there's going to be a lot of bad blood. There's going to be some dirty hits, and a lot of ruckus. All of that can lead to an upset. And this could be a game that happens. Definitely going against Florida State. While they are absolutely awful this year, the one shining light that they have is that defensive line, and Cam Ward's going to be busy all day running away from them.
And also, I just want to clean it up a little bit. I don't want to discredit Cam Ward at all.
No, great
Cam Ward
player.
is a great player, but there's just definitely been some calls where I'm like, I don't know about this one.
Yeah,
Not
and
too
it's not
sure.
plays that he's doing either. There have been some like whenever Miami is on defense that it's like, oh, maybe that should have been call,
Yeah,
and everything like that. So it's not all Cam Ward getting the calls. It's kind of
exactly.
Miami getting calls
Right.
overall. But of course, calls go both ways. Bad reffing goes both ways. You can look through an entire game and point to different plays. You can also look at a game and say, hey, it doesn't all come down to one play. This team put up 38 points on you. You're telling me one touchdown's the reason you lost. You still let them put up, what would that be, 31 points? If not, like, it's more than a couple plays, but it can be important if you have the refs making some questionable calls.
And I just want to speak on this in general. The refereeing in college football this year, oh my goodness. While we're talking about refereeing, it has been atrocious, dude. I have
Yeah.
never in my life see fans dictate a referee's penalty in terms of overcalling it. I just want to touch on that Texas and Georgia game real
Yeah,
quick
it's a
last week.
difficult situation there.
That was possibly the worst situation of refereeing I've ever seen in my life. How are you going to let the fans make you overturn a call? I have never seen that shit. I'm sorry. I just need to just say that the refereeing in college football definitely needs a they definitely need to do like a conference or something, and they need to get it under control. I just haven't liked what I've seen this season, so I
Yeah,
just want to
no,
touch on that.
it's a rough situation because definitely overturning the call was the correct call, but that situation where fans are throwing stuff on the field and everything and overturning it after that,
It's just the
you're
fashion.
reinforcing that behavior.
Yeah, it's like the
Um,
fashion of how it was done. Like, okay, yes, exactly, it should have been overturned, but you can't let them feel like they've won by
yeah, because
throwing
it
stuff.
just reinforces that behavior. Like Kirby Smart, good coach and everything like that. He can be very annoying, with just how he speaks. Very much like, oh, I'm kind of a very victim like thing. I don't know. I've been very upset with Kirby Smart ever since he pushed Mississippi State's quarterback and kind of
Understandable.
got away with it.
Understandable.
Um, but he said it perfectly after the game that you're kind of teaching these college fans that they start throwing stuff on the field, they have a chance to get it overturned. I expect to see a lot more of it um, in these coming weeks and everything as we keep getting closer to the college football playoffs and everything like that. Um,
Real quick, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just want to see. Have you heard what? I think it's Vanderbilt who plays Texas this week. But have you heard what they did to their to their stadium for the week?
no, I have no clue.
Okay. I want to make sure
Down.
I'm okay. So Vanderbilt. Also, I just want to say shout out to Vanderbilt, man. I think it's Pavia is the quarterback.
Yeah.
Shout out to Pavia, bro. He's been dogging this season. But
11 touchdowns, 1 pick for that man. Getting it done on the ground too. He's their leading rusher, 3 touchdowns.
Crazy. But Vanderbilt actually put up netting on the visitor side of the field. After what happened last week with the Longhorns. So
hey, you might need to do it.
So if you watch the game, you might be confused as to why does it look like baseball netting on the opposite side. And it is definitely baseball netting to prevent items from being tossed onto the field. So Texas, you are already looking horrible. I just want to say that.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I didn't know if many people heard about that, but I just wanted to mention it because I thought that was the funniest thing.
Yeah. Before we do move on from the subject of Heisman, I did want to hit on Dylan Gabriel's stats a little bit because I've hit on the other two. Dylan Gabriel has been capped in consistency, really. Getting it done, getting roughly high 200s, close to 300 yards a game, at least 2 touchdowns a game. Shown some weaknesses through 2 picks against Mississippi State, pick against UCLA. He did have a pick against Purdue, but they also won 35-0 against Purdue. I'm not really worried about that pick against Purdue. But one thing to note about him very strongly is the first time he's been sacked in 4 weeks was against Purdue. And that includes games against Ohio State, Michigan State, UCLA, who doesn't have the worst defense. Like, he's not getting touched. So it'll be interesting to see how that offensive line holds up as we keep going through these games. Once we reach game 12, once you reach the conference championship, once you reach the playoffs, is that line going to continue to hold up for you? And how are you going to react whenever possibly it doesn't? I think that's like the biggest question I have for Dylan Gabriel, just to see how he reacts if there was a loose linebacker getting to the end, getting into him and everything like that consistently.
I agree. Oregon, while they have looked great, they still have questions that do need to be answered. I just also want to say, bro, their coach is so smart. Did you you really understand what happened last week with the Ohio State and Oregon matchup and that and that 12 man?
That's a big flaw that he noticed with the system. Very reminiscent of Bill Belichick, who would know every single rule in the rule book and how to exploit it.
And exactly.
Very smart play by him, and they immediately changed the ruling on it so that way it can't happen again.
Hey, all I'm saying is, listen, if as long as it's not illegal, if you can do it, and you gotta do what it takes to win, bro, just do it. Smart man, and he. I always love things like that, when people outsmart the rules to where they have to like make a rule about them being too smart. You know what I'm saying? That's just.
Yeah, no, and I wish they would name those after the
after exactly
the Dan Lanning rule.
Yes, yeah, for sure. Because people were like, "Yo, what the hell happened?" Watch this game. You'll quickly understand.
Look them up. Look me up.
Google me, son.
Google me. With that now, kind of before we get into the national championship like contenders and everything, I think looking at some of these important games coming up this week that have big implications towards the playoffs. Like I brought
Hit me
up
with it. Here we go.
this Ashton Genty Boise State versus UNLV matchup tonight. Big game, high implications and everything like that. If Boise State loses, UNLV should jump into the rankings and everything like that. I don't think they would be the highest rated because the team right behind Boise State that's in the fifth conference right now is Navy, who's playing Notre Dame this week. It is in Navy, so
Shout
that's
out,
a boost for them. But
shout out Navy.
for real, 6-0 right now. They've got to be feeling good going against Notre Dame in New Jersey. It'll be an interesting game right there.
Honestly, I know the odds of this happening are very slim, and me and you talked about this in person, like off camera. But dude, could you imagine if we get a undefeated Army versus Navy game, and since they're both would be technically the highest two in their conference, possibly, could you imagine a conference championship between them?
Bro, it would be crazy. Um, I think it would put a lot of heat on the college football playoffs and everything like that. Like, if they are undefeated to that point, they reach the college football, or they reach their final game of the season, week 15, where it's Army versus Navy. If one team wins that game and then during the conference championship the other team wins, do you have to put both of them in the playoff? What do you do in that situation?
You know,
Um,
I think the playoffs. I just want to say I really think Vanderbilt sort of messed up the college football playoffs.
they really did.
Just because them upsetting Bama was huge. Like, yes, Bama losing to Tennessee last week. Okay, those are two top teams. So you sort of obviously someone has to lose, and they lost in a relatively closer fashion.
Mm-hmm.
But when you weigh the loss of that when you weigh the Vanderbilt loss, I feel like it's hard to put them into the playoffs at this point, which is some of the way how other teams have been have been playing. Texas has been playing great. They have a chance to potentially be first in the conference and make it to the conference finals, or not conference finals, conference championships, and claim a playoff spot. Texas A&M. Texas A&M's a very sneaky, good team. LSU is on another team. I feel like that there's just a lot of teams in the SEC that could blow by Bama within the next week or two. And I just feel like Vanderbilt sold themselves. I'm sorry, not Vanderbilt. I feel like Alabama sold themselves with that Vanderbilt loss. I just don't see them clinching this season. I feel like that's sort of bold, but
Game for the rest of this year. They play Missouri. Both of these teams have a very big thing to prove. Missouri came in with high expectations, got smoked by Texas A&M. Alabama now has lost 2 straight SEC matchups. What do you do here against Missouri? It's going to be in Bryant-Denny. After that, you don't get it easy. You go to LSU after this. This Missouri LSU game, back to back, it's going to be a lot on DeBoer, a lot on Jalen Milroe. If you win these two and you win out, obviously you make the playoffs. You're the 15th ranked team right now. You beat those two teams, you've got to jump at least into the top 12, top 11. And they're there. Mizzou's in that same thing, and that's why this game is going to be so big. If Mizzou can manage to win this game, if Mizzou can continue to win after that, where they play just no ranked opponents after this, I feel like you can't keep them out.
yeah, I do agree, but I don't know. I feel like I feel like this week is gonna be very telling for the SEC in general. As you mentioned, we got Mizzou versus Bama. That has a matchup with huge implications. You have Texas versus Vandy this week. Vandy is 2-1 in SEC play. So they do have a shot to potentially ruin some teams' playoff luck and even make it themselves. You never know with college football.
Mhm.
Another big SEC matchup is that. And then in my
The
opinion,
biggest.
yeah, then the biggest matchup we got LSU versus Texas A&M, number 8 versus 14. One team's 3-0 in SEC and one team's 4-0 in SEC with a 6-1 record even. That has massive implications. I feel like this game sort of shakes out top dog in the SEC, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like it's sort of tough. I feel like maybe one of these two teams. I feel like between these two teams in Texas, I feel like those are the teams I think have a chance to win the SEC. In terms of just how good they have been playing this year. Keep in mind LSU's one loss was against USC, and it was a good loss. Like it was a very close game. It was a very hard played game. Exactly. Like it was. LSU just struggles in home openers. There's a fact actually they've lost like their past 5 home openers for some reason, or just season openers, which is very un-LSU like in terms of their previous history. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is probably maybe the biggest week to date so far.
Yeah, I mean, once you get to half season, that's kind of where it is. 'Cause this is where some teams have already clinched, like a bowl eligibility. Teams have already eliminated themselves from conference competition, from bowl competition. This is really like the nitty-gritty weeks where every game matters. Like early in the season, like Texas A&M's one loss this season, week 1 against Notre Dame. Those first like 2-3 weeks, those are your tune-up weeks. You're trying to prepare for the season. You want to play some tough opponents. Obviously, it's hard playing a team like a Notre Dame. It's hard playing a team like a who did LSU lose to?
USC.
USC. Like it's
Miller
hard playing
Moss.
other good teams because those teams are also tuning up. But whenever you're very equal teams, you don't really know who's going to come out on top. Your players haven't fully tackled someone at game speed since last season. Some of your players haven't. Last tackle was in a high school game. Like it's a lot, but these weeks everybody's game ready. Everybody is up to college football standard, and it's going to be the hardest hitting weeks from now on.
And also, while we're just talking about playoffs, I do want to give a shout out to this school. Even though we do play them this week, this is a school I did not think was going to be this good. Shout out to BYU, man. BYU has had a crazy season, bro. 7-0, undefeated in probably the most chaotic conference, in my opinion. Probably my favorite conference, aka the Big 12. But shout out to BYU, man. They've been BYU and also Iowa State. Yeah, BYU, Iowa State. The Big 12 probably is gonna be just as chaotic as the SEC. Sorry, the SEC, in terms of just who the hell is making it out of here, dog. The Big 12, you have BYU, Iowa State tied at both 7-0, both undefeated overall, undefeated in conference play. K-State's right there, though, 6-1. 3-1 in conference play. Texas Tech is 3-1 in conference play. Conference records in the Big 12 are looking crazy. You have 4 teams tied at 3-1, and all it takes is one upset for one of those teams to easily slide in. Between Colorado, Cincinnati, Texas Tech, K-State, any of those teams could easily sneak in and take the 1 or 2 spots. So the Big 12 is also another conference I just want to say people need to watch, because that conference is gonna, I don't know who's making it to the playoff out of there, but there's a lot of chaos going on there. So
Yeah. Um, it'll definitely be the fourth conference that's in. Um, and it's a very Big 12 football is the new Pac-12 where there's just no defense.
I love it.
And it makes it very exciting every week because you truly don't know what's going to happen. Is my cornerback going to be able to make an open field tackle? Probably not. That's a 90-yard touchdown run.
Listen,
Um,
I live for those 1 a.m. games where I am falling asleep, one eye open, and I see a Hail Mary at the last second to win the game. I live for those.
that's Big 12 football.
I live for those, man.
With that, like talking about this, I want to go into do you have 2, 3 teams or so that you feel like are your favorites to win the national championship?
I could definitely give you some. I could
You
definitely
want me
give
to
you.
start off with mine? Or
Yeah. Sure. Go ahead. I want to see if I get inspired a
okay,
little bit.
work with it. My three are the same as last week. Texas A&M, I still feel like if they can get through this week, they just have to get through Texas in Texas A&M. Um, I feel very sure that Wiegman's that guy. He's that quarterback. He can get it done for them. Kansas State, I think they're going to be the team that gets out of the Big 12. They lost to BYU in a stunner, but I still think they're the best team in the Big 12. I think they're going to be in the playoffs. I think they're going to be fine. And Avery Johnson, DJ Giddens, two very exciting players that if you put them in a playoff game, you don't really know what's going to happen. It's just a very exciting rushing team. You need your defense show up a couple plays, maybe a missed field goal for the other team, and K-State's your national championship. Finally, and my top team to win it is Tennessee. Nico is just too good of a not even Nico. It's Dylan Sampson, honestly, just rushing all over teams.
I was gonna
Nico's
say
a really big
Samson's the guy.
complementary piece to it. But I mean, it's mostly Josh Heupel's like offense. Just makes it hard for Nico to fail, really. It's very quick decisions and everything like that that are mostly pre-snap decisions. If I see this guy here, my guy's going to be open here. If not, I'm giving it to Dylan Sampson. A lot of RPOs, a lot of quick plays. It's what makes their points for be 15th in the nation. They have such an insane defense led by James Pierce and everything that they're only giving up 11.6 points a game whenever they played 24 ranked at the time NC State's fallen back a lot. They played number 15 Oklahoma in Oklahoma. Oklahoma's fallen back a bit. Florida was a tough matchup. Alabama was a tough matchup. And even with all these games, all these SEC games, all these opponents, they're still maintaining the fourth best defense in the country. I just feel it's hard to not talk about Tennessee there. Alabama too. If Alabama can get by Missouri and LSU, hey, I feel like they're one of the teams that sneak in. Maybe not as a conference champion, but one of those teams that have to play week one and everything like that. I feel like Alabama, if they get to the playoffs, you can't sleep on Jalen Milroe. You can't sleep on that team. DeBoer has been a little bit shaky as a head coach, but as he's continuing to adjust to this team that isn't a team that he recruited. These are guys that have been there through Saban. So he's still adjusting to this team, of course. But they're probably going to continue to play better. Hopefully their rush game gets up a little bit more to that natural Alabama thing where they're able to smash mouth you down the middle. If not, have a quarterback to take it over top.
Okay, you made some very, very, very valid points there. All right, let me see. So I have a couple teams. I guess I'll start with probably my sleeper team that I think is going to make it. So while I do think K-State is a good team, I do think BYU probably has the best chance to make it out of the Big 12. I feel like they've been very, very dominant this year. They beat K-State 38-9. They have another dominant win over Arizona, 41-19. They do have a couple close wins. 18-15 against SMU, but SMU's been a great team this year. A close game against Baylor. Baylor's been a very mid team this year. They feel like Baylor's been robbed a couple times. I'm not gonna lie, but they've robbed themselves, not robbed by the refs. Oklahoma State was a very close game, 38-35. I feel like their schedule, if they can win out these next couple games against UCF, Utah, and Kansas, I think they're a lock, in my opinion. I feel like those are the three toughest teams they have left. Kansas is a very good team this year. Utah's been very hit or miss, but they can still come out and win. Then UCF is the same thing. UCF can play good, but they can also just totally not show up as well. So if they can dominate these next three games, I like BYU's chances of making it. So that's sort of my sleeper team. A team I wanted to give an honorable mention to is Clemson. I feel like Clemson's not really been talked about as much as they should this year. I feel like their hype has died down a little bit, but they've been a pretty solid team. I'm still not a fan of Dabo Sweeney not being a fan of the transfer portal. You sort of need the transfer portal, but that's just my opinion. But Clemson is definitely a team that I think deserves an honorable mention. They could sneak in there. I don't think they will make it, but I just wanted to show them love just because they've been looking good this year. And definitely dominating the ACC. But now my two favorites, we are going to go SEC schools. We're going to go with the Hook'em Horns. We're going to go Texas. I think Texas is my favorite team to potentially win this year. Besides last week, I feel like they looked very solid this year. Definitely dominant wins over a bunch of schools, but now they finally hit their tough part in the schedule. Didn't look great at all against Georgia. Georgia has been a very weird team this year though, so I don't want to give them any discredit because Georgia is a good team, but I don't know. I feel like Texas shot themselves in the foot a couple times, but anyways, very tough part of their schedule. I feel like they can win out against Vandy, especially Florida's a team you do not want to sleep on, and against Arkansas I feel like they should be looking good. Oh, they got Texas A&M at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well they got a tough schedule, but I still believe Texas as my strong pick for the national championship, and then LSU as well. I think that's just a little bit of childhood bias. I was a huge LSU fan as a kid, and I've always just been a fan of them. But I do think they have a very solid squad this year. They lost a close one against USC. They looked a little shaky to start the season, but they've been really coming into their own. Dominant wins. They got a win over Ole Miss, which was a very good game. They got Texas A&M, which, as I know you have them pick, I think this game would also sort of be a potential who might make the national championship game. Both teams have been looking great. But I don't know. I just feel good about LSU. They got Texas A&M. They got Bama, Florida, Vandy, and Oklahoma. So it's not going to be easy, but I like what I've seen out of them this year. So let's go Tigers. And then also I do want to say shout out to Oregon. I feel like Oregon might make it. I don't want to use them as a pick because I want to keep my BYU, Texas, and LSU as my three. But I did want to show love to Oregon and Clemson because they've been both having great years. Very good teams, and I feel like those teams could also get in there as well.
Yeah, there are 4 teams at the top right now for betting odds and everything, which it's always hard to go against Las Vegas. It seems like they always know everything.
They're because they are pulling the strings.
They are indeed. Georgia's the number 1 team. Number 2 is Ohio State, and then tied for 3rd is Texas and Oregon for the highest odds to win the national championship. But yeah, I think we have some solid picks there of our own, and we'll continue to see how this season unfolds.
I feel like I said this to you. I don't know if I said this on the pod or if I said this off camera, but I'm telling you, man, I just feel like this is probably one of the best seasons of college football we've had in a minute, bro. It's so exciting. It's so exciting this season, man.
Yeah, no, it really is. And I think something that always caps off an exciting college football season is the NFL draft. And switching like to from that to the NFL, like going over something that's really exciting is I see a lot of mock drafts right now. Right now, the mock would be New England picking first and Carolina picking second. Um, I see a lot of max or mocks having both Colorado guys going 1 and 2. Travis Hunter going first to New England, second, being Shador to Carolina. Um, which I mean it's hard to understand as a fan, if you don't know further about owners and people being dumb and idiots and uneducated and just not good at their job, of why Carolina would dare to draft a quarterback. Um, but they're there.
Listen. For the love of God, I may not be the biggest fan of him, but he does have very good mechanics, and I feel like he will translate well in the NFL. For the love of God, please keep Shador Sanders away from the Carolina Panthers. I would much rather that be flip flop and have Travis go to the Panthers and be like a whiteout there compared to having Shador just getting absolutely demolished every single play in the pocket. I think Shador is a better fit for the Patriots, in my opinion.
Patriots have Drake May. They're not going to get a quarterback.
I know, but I'm just saying. I feel like Shador would look pretty good in a Patriots jersey. I can't even lie. Like, I'm not a
I'm being
Patriots
honest.
fan, but I feel like it's fitting.
Well, I'm being honest. We might see Shador in a Cleveland jersey next season.
Don't wish that upon him, bro.
I'm not wishing it. I'm just
you're
speaking it
you're
as
keeping it
is.
real, yeah.
Um, but no, I just Bryce Young. I feel like if you truly are done with him, if you're Carolina, just move him now. Um, I feel like I don't know if his stock will be higher in the off season. I feel like if you want to get the most for him, you have to trade him now, or ride out the rest of the season with the Red Rocket, Andy Dalton, and then draft your quarterback. I feel like you can't go into that next draft with Bryce Young on your team. I feel like, once again, I feel like he loses value if you hold him until the off season. Um, if you're truly done with him, move on from him now.
My thing is, what is Bryce Young's, like, if you just had to guess, let's say if you were going to trade for Bryce Young, what would you offer for Bryce Young?
Depends what team I am. How
Okay,
desperate am I for like a quarterback?
okay,
If
let's
I'm a team
say
like Tennessee, or maybe like, I don't know, like a Raiders, I'd offer like maybe a third, a fifth together.
okay. I was about to say,
But I feel like that's the high end.
because I'm like, I don't really. I'm sort of stuck on what Bryce's value could be, just because like it's sort of you gotta wonder how much is it Carolina and how much is it him, because it is
I think it's a lot of Carolina.
because it is a mixed bag for sure. Um, I'm sort of on your side. I do agree. It's more so the Panthers and the organization not getting the right personnel that they need to. But I feel like from what we've seen, I don't know. I feel like Bryce is sort of like Levis, where we just haven't really seen much improvement, much jump.
Well,
Speaking of
Levis
Will
is a different
Levis,
story. That man's
Will
brain
Levis
is like
is a he's a walking meme, bro. He is a
he's,
walking meme.
he is so bad at football. Like,
How
I'm not even sorry about it.
how do you become a meme every single week that you play the game of football, bro?
Hey, Buddy's out for the next 2 weeks. There's no possible way he can be a meme this week, right?
I bet you he will find a way.
What is he gonna do?
I don't know. He's probably gonna fucking eat a banana sideways or something, bro. I don't
Uh,
know. Like, I
that's
don't
a
know.
wild statement to make.
I don't know, bro. But Will Levis is gonna find a way to be goofy.
It,
But
man, it's a difficult thing there in Tennessee.
oh man. So from what I heard is they tried to rebuild him in the off season, and I hear that nothing stuck, and they sort of made it worse. That's sort of what I've just been reading and hearing about as to why he's been sort of falling off this year.
It definitely didn't make anything better.
Yeah, as I'll say, if that is true, that's just horrible, bro. That's on the coaching staff. Like, come on, y'all, man. Like, how are you gonna break this guy in what, year 2, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, like it's sort of sad to see. I ain't gonna lie, bro.
it's already broken.
I feel like this is a trend, though. I feel like you see more quarterbacks getting broken in the NFL and coming worse their second season than you see improvement. I don't know. I could be wrong,
No,
but
sophomore slumps are definitely a thing. Like, I mean, you got to think this is the most they played football in the past like 4 years. They come off playing all these games to then like jumping right back in. Their bodies aren't fully recovered because they're not used to this type of season.
that and I
And then
guess you
two
got
teams have
scouting
figured
tape.
them out a little bit more. So
Yeah.
it's like sophomore slumps are a real thing. They happen. I don't judge people very much off like their second season and everything like that. It's obviously that third, fourth season that are the true like telltales. Like, is this guy a difference maker? Obviously, if you can come in your second season and still tear it up, that's probably like okay, yeah, no, this guy's great. Um, but no, third, fourth seasons, which you really got to look at. Will Levis, I think there's a reason he dropped so low in the draft. I just don't, never have truly thought he's good. I do want to say, like, I don't want people getting less money, anything like that. I wish everybody could come into these leagues and be the absolute best player of all time. I love greatness. I love to watch it happen. Of course, I have opinions on players if I believe they're going to be a good player or not. Love for them to either prove me wrong or prove me right, depending on my opinion of them. But Will Levis is someone that I don't think it's possible to prove me wrong. And he really hasn't proved me wrong.
Yeah, it's just sort of sad to see. Like, I don't know. I feel like now, like, I don't know. I guess just because no one really sits back and develops anymore. Back to what I was saying, like, the last pod. Like, just development is sort of lost in the NFL. So I just feel like, with, as you said,
He
guys
got that
getting.
chance, though.
I'm sorry?
He got that chance though. He got to sit behind, I think, Ryan
Bro,
Tannehill.
come on. Tannehill is not the guy. Bruh. Bruh. Bruh.
Hey, Tannehill, you don't hate
Bruh.
on. He was a league average quarterback every single year
Mid.
he's in the league.
Mid. Whole
Hey,
lot of mid.
hey,
I'm
that's all
sorry.
you need to be.
I'm
Trent
sorry.
Dilfer won a fucking championship.
Trent Dilford is a booty butt cheeks.
He won a Super Bowl. That's all that matters.
Okay, whatever. But I don't know, bro. I feel like quarterbacks just need to be sitting more. The
Even
newer
if you said it
generation.
doesn't matter. Look at Kyle Trask. That man sat behind fucking Tom Brady and he's still ass.
Okay, but that's just on him. Anyway. Alright. I'll let you have it this time, but I don't know, man. I just.
I think it
I
does
feel like.
matter the system a lot, and I feel like a lot of quarterbacks are put on bad systems. I feel like every single year there may be 5 or 6 teams that can truly develop a quarterback.
Right, like I just feel like the sophomore slump is a lot more prevalent than it used to be, in my opinion, or at least a lot more noticeable, if that sort of makes sense. I don't know.
No, looking at this mock draft right now, I'm looking at Tankathon right now.
Tankathon, that's
Um,
funny.
And right now, the only quarterback that's going to a team that I believe can be successful is actually all the way back at the 26th pick,
And who's
and it's
that?
Jalen Milroe, and it has him going to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I do like Jalen Milroe and Mike Tomlin being like a duo. But
Mhm.
also at the same time, that quarterback room, what the hell are you doing at that point?
I feel like it's just untalented. I feel like that's talent. Or are you talking about current? Because right now it's currently talented. I was
No,
thinking you were
yeah.
talking about Kenny Pickett for a second. Kenny Pickett's just untalented.
No, 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 no. The Steelers have made a massive upgrade in their quarterback room with Fields and,
Bro,
and Wilson.
what do you do though in that situation? Like, yeah,
Exactly.
Justin Fields 4-2 he led you to, but I mean, you got former MVP Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson also last season, people hate on him. He was a good quarterback last season.
Broncos country.
He just wasn't playing at the level that his contract said he should be.
Let's ride.
Uh, which, yeah, that's one thing you can point at and everything like that. But
Let's
that
ride.
man, let's ride. That man still last season was a top 10 quarterback in the league. Like maybe getting paid more better than a top 10 quarterback in the league, but he was at least a top 10 quarterback in the league. Not a great team around him there in Denver. Um, and then he goes to Pittsburgh for the league minimum. He's healthy. He plays a great game. Mike Tomlin, he's just playing the best player he can, which I do believe right now is Russell Wilson. I feel like it leads you to a interesting decision with Justin Fields' fifth-year option coming at the end of this year. You let Russ walk whenever Russ is like what 40 years old now, close to that. Um, and then did in that 6 game stretch, did Justin Fields make you feel good enough about taking a fifth-year option? Russell Wilson is 35, by the way. He'll be 36 next season. Um, he'll be 36 this season, actually, in November next month.
Jeez.
Um, but it's like, did that 6 game spread of Justin Fields make you feel good enough to pick up that fifth-year option? If not, what's your plan? Drafting Jalen Milroe? Try it. Why not? Keep that fifth-year option. Sign it for Justin Fields. Let Jalen Milroe sit behind Justin Fields for a season. They're in a really good spot.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I feel like the Steelers are in a very good problem to have, which is
Yeah.
having too much talent and trying to figure out what to do with all of it.
Yeah. No.
Especially if they target Milroe. Yeah, that's a long conversation about that quarterback room.
I've always hated the thing of like, if you have two quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. It's like, that's not true. Definitely not in the NFL where people get hurt every single game. Like, if you have two quarterbacks, cool. One of them go down, you have another one to go.
I personally love teams that use like a dual quarterback system.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like it's fun. It's the best way to go.
it's going to help the Browns. I mean, right now they're bad anyway. But losing Deshaun Watson, they probably have the best backup quarterback in the league in Jameis Winston, who's now going to be their
Famous
starting.
James.
Famous Jameis, he's got his job back.
Let's go out here and eat this dub.
It's dub, baby.
Oh,
But
I
no,
love Jameis Winston. I'm sorry. Go on.
it's definitely going to be helpful. I think it's a good thing for the Steelers, and they can put themselves in that same situation next year, picking up that Fields fifth-year deal, drafting someone like Jalen Milroe if he is available there. Who else are like the? So it has Quinn Ewers going early. It has Shador, Ward, Ewers going before Milroe. I guess after Milroe it would be Carson Beck, Drew Aller.
Yeah,
Um,
that honestly sounds about right in terms of where everyone's been sort of sitting this year. Unless we have
yeah.
someone random just join in on the mix, but I don't really see that happening at this point.
No,
I don't. What's Pavia at? I feel like Pavia could definitely get
Javi is
drafted.
not going.
He could get drafted. I'm not gonna say first round. Hell no. But I'm saying he could definitely get drafted somewhere, depending on
He's a seventh day pick if anything. I don't think he gets drafted though.
he's a senior. I feel like if he gets drafted, I feel like he's a round 7 pick.
It looks like the QBs this year are Shador, Cam Ward, Quinn Ewers, Jalen Milrow, Carson Beck, Drew Aller, Garrett Nussmeier, and Jackson Dart. And it seems like that's really it.
Yeah. Personally, I'm a huge fan of. I think I'm like a big fan of like the starting four quarterbacks. Shador, I feel like Shador should translate well. Quinn Ewers, as long as he can stay healthy, that's my biggest worry about him. He's a great quarterback, but he has so many injury problems, bro. It's like, it's, it's just I don't know. He honestly worries me, especially with how physical of the game the NFL is, as you said, with all the injuries. It's like his injury history worries me a little bit, but I feel like he should be fine depending on where he goes. Um, Milrow should be all right. Only thing with that, I feel like Fields and Milrow are essentially the same quarterback, so that's an interesting situation. Um, and then who else was it? Was it Cam Ward or was there someone else I'm missing?
Cam Ward is supposed to be the second best.
Okay, and Cam Ward. Cam Ward, as we said earlier, Cam Ward, I love his play style. He makes shit look effortless, which is insane. Like, it looks so effortless with him. I'm curious as to what team would draft him. Personally, I sort of have a tough time seeing him. I can see him in a
This
Colts
has
in a
going to
Colts
the
unit.
Titans.
Pray for Cam Ward, man. Pray for Cam Ward.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I have had this conversation with you where none of the quarterbacks really excite me in terms of NFL projection. Um,
I remember that.
which
Yeah.
once again, love for them to prove me wrong. I don't fully see it with any of these guys. I think we've been spoiled with quarterback talent as of late. Um,
Agreed.
I think this is where it steps back a little bit. But we'll see. I'd love for Shador. I'd love for Cam Ward to come in, prove me wrong there. But I don't know. I just don't see it at this moment in time. Um,
Let
yeah,
me
we'll see.
let me ask you about your list that you have in front of you. Do they have my dog Genty in the first round?
They do. They have him going number 10 to Miami.
I love that. I honestly love that. If
Do they need a running back though? Achan is so good.
they don't need a running back because they have a good running back room. I think Mozart's still there. Am I
Yeah,
wrong?
Raheem Mostert.
Yeah, I was gonna say like they have a solid running back room, so they don't need him. But I do just love the idea of him, Tyreek Hill, and Jalen Waddle just all being on the same team. I feel like that would just be a fun team to watch, honestly.
I don't
Now
know. Running back
their
in the first
quarterback situation, I don't know about, but
running back in the first round is yucky to me.
yeah, honestly, I it's like I want running backs to get respect on their name again, but it's so hard when it's like the average career is so short just because of usage and everything like that nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very tough. Like obviously Genty is very deserving of the pick, but I totally get where you're coming from as like a team and a franchise. Like
Yeah,
you
no, there are
do
only a
really want to
couple
use your first
people
pick on a running back, you know?
there are only a couple people that I truly think deserve it. And it's like those people are just true explosive players. And I think there are only a couple of them in the league today. Saquon's one of them. Derrick Henry's one of them. Christian McCaffrey, whenever he comes back, he's one of them. Someone that I don't think gets enough credit right now is Tank Bigsby. I think Tank Bigsby has a chance to be one of the like very explosive running backs in the league. I mean, right now how many is it? Let's see. He has 4 20 plus yard runs. He has 2 40 plus yard runs. That puts him at the top of the league like with these guys. Like Jordan Moss even has that availability or Mason, but I think Jordan Mason's more led by the scheme that he's under there in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
It's just think it's very select people um, that deserve to be like a first round type player, and sadly, running backs are falling off that list.
I think Genti could definitely be special. Like I said, I hope he proves us wrong. Um, and I hope that if
Well,
he
prove
gets,
me wrong. You're the one that is
well,
enjoying.
yeah, I'm definitely enjoying him, but I'm also a little bit worried for him. I don't like his running style in at the NFL. Yes, I know he's not the first one to have the whole stand up straight Michael Myers run style, but it's still like I don't know. I just it sort of scares me being that high of a draft pick because his fucking workload is gonna be heavy if he's
Mm-hmm.
drafted that high, and I don't know. But I do want to see him do good. Samson as well from Tennessee. I think he's probably the next best running back in this draft coming up. He's been making a lot of noise. I think he's been a little bit underrated, to be honest with you.
Is Samson going in this draft? I don't think he
I don't
is.
know what I
He
thought
was in college.
really.
I think so. Next in this draft would
He
be like
runs like a fucking
probably like a
grown.
Crenshaw Judkins, Ollie Gordon
Oh,
up there.
two guys that have sort of fallen off a little bit in terms of preseason hype, I would say. Judkins especially. Judkins has not been living up to his preseason hype. And Ollie Gordon is just now sort of getting it back going, so we'll see.
I
But
think it's more just they
shout out
haven't had
Genty.
to fully.
What's up?
I just think it's more they haven't had to.
Oh, yeah, true.
Looks like Dylan Sampson is eligible. He just, I don't know, he might not be going this year. We'll see.
It's probably good for him to stay another year, collect some NIL, and build up his draft stock. You know what I'm saying? Especially with Genty being just the running back this year. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna be overshadowed a little bit. So
Yeah. It does look like this list only goes to the top like 100 players in the nation. So, I mean, he could be on that, but he's not on the top like 100.
nah, I feel like he has to be a top 100 player this year. I could be wrong, but I could be
Yeah.
wrong. But yeah, I
Um,
don't know. That's a pretty interesting draft order or mock draft.
yeah. Um, yeah, like looking more at the season, who do you think it right now is your favorite to win the Super Bowl?
Okay. So can I give you like a long shot pick just because I love this guy, and then I'll give you
How about
like
a
a real
long
pick.
shot and then one from each conference?
Like okay, all right. My long shot is I walk in your trap and I take over your trap. Mr. Swag Surf himself, Mr. Kirko Chains. Give me them fucking dirty birds, man.
I'd love to eat the pudding. I would love to.
I'm sorry, bro. I just love Kirk Cousins. Low key, I've been listen, as a Tampa Bay Bucks fan, it has pained me to say this, but dude, I love watching the Falcons this year. I like what the Falcons bring energy wise. They're my long shot pick. I don't think they're gonna do it, but it would be fun just to see Atlanta get another shot at a Super Bowl with this current team. I don't know, but I got them for my long shot. And then for my NFC pick, we're just gonna stay in the NFC. One team I think that could really come out and do it. I got the Detroit Lions. I feel like they're still red hot off of last year. Last year I feel like they should have made it. They just had a bad second half and sold themselves. I think the Lions still have a chance even with Hutchinson going down. That is a big loss, but I still think they're just a solid enough unit to where they could possibly make it. So we're gonna go with the Lions from the NFC. And then for my AFC team, it is a little bit tough. Like the inner fan in me wants to go with the Houston Texans just because I love what they have going on there. I'm a big CJ Stroud fan. It's just a great quarterback having a great year too. I do like the Texans, but my pick is really gonna be the Baltimore Ravens. It's just I love watching Lamar. Him and Derrick Henry is a nasty duo. He put up 5 touchdowns against my Bucks this week, which was pretty hard to watch. Um, and I don't know. I've just liked what I've seen out of the Ravens. Lamar looks focused. He seems like he really wants to win it all this year. I like the squad they have. So yeah, we're going to go Baltimore and we're going to go Lions as I guess my Super Bowl matchup. And if I had to choose one, I'd probably take the Lions.
All right. My long shot will be who's leading the league right now in net points, tied for the best offense right now in football. The long shot is going to be the Washington Commanders.
I'm
It's going
not
to be
mad.
strongly depending. Is Jaden Daniels able to come back? Is he going to be healthy? Is he going to be the same accurate player? And two, can they, before this trade deadline, make some type of big defensive splash? Because that's what they're missing is a big defensive piece. Man, maybe like a Montez Sweat or like a Chase Young would be really good there. I wonder what that team would look like if they could have ever had those players there. Maybe they'd be good. But who knows?
I am not mad at that pick. I actually like that pick. I was low key thinking about Washington because they have looked great this year. So I do like that pick from you.
No, they're leading the league right now in points, like in net points overall, which is points for minus points against. They're leading the league right now in it through 7 games. Of course, this week in football, got to get through it because they played the Thursday night game. So it's going to be a couple more games. Or did they play the Thursday night game? I don't know. They're 5-2. They played 7 games. Most teams have played 6, 7-ish. No, they play tomorrow actually against the or Sunday against the Bears. I don't know why I said that. I know who they play. Um, but yeah, no, it'll be a interesting team. Definitely if they can pick up some defensive pieces. They might wait until after this Bears game because the Bears are another team that have been right there. They've been really good. Bears are actually 5th right now in net points this season. But that's mostly because of their defense. Their defense right now is playing like the second best in football, tied with the Steelers for points allowed. But if they win that game against the Bears, I think it's hard to not make a defensive trade, get more defensive, get better defensive pieces. Definitely if Jaden Daniels is back and healthy and playing his Jaden Daniels way, it's hard not to make a trade and try and compete for a Super Bowl if you have the ability. But then going into my like actual picks, NFC, like you said, Detroit Lions, they're just such a scary team. They've been so good defensively and offensively. It's impossible not to pick them. They're top 8 in both points for and points against. It hard not to go for them. And then my AFC team would have to be. It was last week the Baltimore Ravens. It's just the Kansas City Chiefs, man. You traded for DeAndre Hopkins. You finally given Mahomes a receiver to throw to again this season. Of course, DeAndre Hopkins probably going to go down with some type of significant career-ending injury this next week because that's just what happens if you're a Chiefs wide receiver. But if he manages to not just tear every ligament in his legs this coming week, I think it's hard for me to go against Mahomes with a good wide receiver on his team. And with that, saying the Kansas City Chiefs win the Super Bowl as well.
You know, I'm not mad at that because I was thinking the Chiefs too, just because, you know, it's the Chiefs now are what the Patriots were when me and you were growing up. It's hard to bet against them because they're probably going to win. They're probably gonna find a way, bro.
Yeah.
Like, and you know, like I just I don't know. I am a big fan of Lamar. I can definitely respect that Chiefs pick. It might honestly be them, especially with, as you said, D Hop going over there. But I don't know, bro. It just irks me that they're so good, bro, and there's nothing you can do about it. Literally, it's just the fucking trio of Mahomes, Kelsey, and Big Red, bro. You can't
Big red, baby.
you can't stop those three. You can't stop them, bro. It's hard.
Really hard. A lot of people would agree with you.
Like Big Red is
Um,
probably one of the most underrated coaches. Like, not I wouldn't say underrated, but I feel like we don't really give him as much props just because everyone's like, oh my gosh, Mahomes. Because yes, Mahomes does do crazy things, but dude, that's the game planning and scheming. That's Big Red, baby. That's Big Red.
um, speaking of like that DeAndre Hopkins trade, I wanted to see your opinion because that's one of the three big wide receiver trades that there were in these past like weeks. What do you think of the others? Or we can start with the DeAndre Hopkins ones, but then go into the others as well. What's your thought on the DeAndre Hopkins trade?
Okay, so as you said, when you give Patrick Mahomes a receiver, I feel like it doesn't even have to be a top tier receiver because, as you see, he won a Super Bowl with Juju, and Juju is coming off of a bad season with the Steelers when they won a championship. So if you give this man just somewhat surefire hands, it like I feel like D Hop's numbers aren't going to be crazy, but he's definitely going to help he's definitely going to help to like winning football. You know what I'm saying? He's going to have a big play here and there. And I think, as you said, just getting D Hop with his resume, it just really sort of puts them over. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, like he doesn't have the speed. Like one thing about DeAndre Hopkins' game is never been his speed. He's not an explosive runner,
right,
but he can catch anything thrown in his way.
bro. The
Um,
size of his hands are ridiculous. I know you've
Ridiculous.
seen his hand size, bro. I think he
Yeah,
wears like
and
a 4X glove, bro. Like,
it's something about like a receiver like that where he's going to catch anything his way, so you have to have a guy on him. And then you have Travis Kelsey. You always have to have a guy on Travis Kelsey because he's a wide receiver in a linebacker's body. Um, if not double covering Travis Kelsey. With that, they have Xavier Worthy, who
dog.
they've been able to hit him every now and again deep, but I feel like a big issue is they haven't had the wide receivers that they've needed to delegate safety help down low that they're able to take away that deep ball. I think adding this DeAndre Hopkins, who can catch at all levels of the play, he's stronger than you. Not faster, but he's stronger than you. He's going to get in the way and catch the ball.
And
That brings you needing safety help to guard him. That's going to open up that deep ball for Xavier Worthy. It 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 just I feel like it makes them overall like a great receiving unit that they lost whenever they lost Marquise Brown, whenever they lost Rashee Rice. Um, it's going to be scary for the Chiefs having him if they can utilize him properly, which I have full faith in Andy Reid to do. I have full faith in Patrick Mahomes to do. Um, yeah, I think this is the best of the three receiver trades.
yeah, I'm with you there because when he gets healthy again, the starting receivers for the Kansas City Chief, since they do run like a 3 receiver set, will be DeAndre Hopkins, Xavier Worthy, and Mr. Juju himself. When he is
Juju
back.
above McCole Hardman?
Yes, Hardman is currently on the second unit according to ESPN. This is just off what ESPN gives you. Hardman's on the second unit. Second string gang.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely a core. And as you said, you got Kelsey. Kareem Hunt can definitely get you a play. Perrine, I've always say his name wrong. So Samaje, right?
Yes, Samaje
Yeah.
Perine.
Yeah, he's also a guy that can go out there and make you a play. So
Good receiving back.
yeah, Chiefs just have weapons all over the field, man. It's hard. It's literally just gonna be a pick your poison with them, honestly.
Yeah.
And then we can go ahead and move on to the other trades. We could just touch upon them. As we know,
Would you like to talk about Cooper or Devontae Adams?
Um, I more so want to talk about Devonte Adams. I can quickly touch on Cooper real quick. I think it's a good trade. I do.
Cooper, I think, is a great trade as well for the Bills.
Yeah, I feel like it helps fill the void with their offseason losses in the receiving core this year. So I do like that pickup a lot for them.
I
Because
know it gives them number one receiver. It makes Keon Coleman able to be that second guy with KJ Hamler probably in your slot. I think it helps them a lot. Along with like just freeing up their tight end, Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox. I think it's a team that whenever you have a quarterback like Josh Allen like you do, you have to have a premier wide receiver with him to kind of free up other targets. Like it might not necessarily be him getting all these targets, but it's him freeing up all these other receivers that maybe aren't as good. Like Keon Coleman, I think, is going to be a great wide receiver. Right now, he's in his rookie year. He's still learning. He's still developing. And even with that, in his first game, of course, they played Tennessee, but he got 4 receptions on 5 targets. So Josh Allen was still hitting him, this brand new wide receiver, only missing him on one of the targets. Got 66 yards and a touchdown. And on that touchdown, he didn't even know what was being called. And he kind of looked at Keon Coleman. Keon Coleman kind of just pointed downfield, told him to get open.
it's like, figure it out, bro.
Look up the touchdown. Like it's kind of crazy. He looks at Keon Coleman like, "What the hell am I supposed to do?" And Keon Coleman just points to the end zone. No, I think the Amari Cooper trade is a bit, as much as I don't like Amari Cooper as a person, he's a great NFL player. And I think he's going to do good with the Bills.
Yeah, because it definitely helps losing Davis and also Diggs. You know what I'm saying? It just helps give them like a big name target to just throw to, and as you said, helps open up everyone else so everyone else can make those plays and help out the team. So I agree.
Yeah.
Like it's not the biggest trade, but it's a good trade for them.
I think it's a pretty big trade, honestly.
True. Yeah.
I think it has playoff changing type things where
it could.
If they do play against the Chiefs, I think it's going to be a battle of which trade was better. Is it going to be the Hopkins one that moves the needle, or is it going to be the Cooper one that moves the needle?
And just because you honestly said that, I really hope we do get to see a matchup like that has implications, like playoff implications or something like that. That would be fun.
I think that trade forced the Chiefs to make theirs for DeAndre Hopkins. I don't think the DeAndre Hopkins trade gets done if the Amari Cooper one does not.
That's interesting. Okay.
But yeah, and then that next trade, Devonte Adams. What did you have to say about it?
Oh man, I don't know how I feel about this. I feel like Devonte Adams has just turned into like that one girl that tries to get back with all of her ex-boyfriends or some shit like that. Like, he tried to reunite with Derek Carr. They used to be college bros. That shit failed horribly. He wants to reunite with Aaron Rodgers. I feel like this is not going to do anything. While on paper, I do like what they have starting in terms of Breece Hall, Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson, and Alan Lazard. I do like what they have going on in terms of skills players, but this does nothing for anybody, I feel like. And I really just feel like either Aaron Rodgers or Devontae Adams is just going to ask out by maybe a season or two from now. I just don't think this does anything, really. Personally, I just think Aaron Rodgers, while I'm not totally hating on him, I really feel like it's just that time. My dog is 40. The Jets are 2-5. I feel like there's just only so much winning football you can give, and I feel like Aaron Rodgers has sort of run out of winning football to give, in my opinion. Granted, it's not just him. The Jets aren't really the best. Oh, I apologize. The Jets aren't really the best, but I don't know. I'm just sort of, I just don't like it, but also I don't hate it, if that makes sense.
I agree with your take completely. I think this is the worst of the trades. I don't think the Devontae Adams one moves the needle, but I don't. It's for reasons other than Devontae Adams. I think Devontae Adams is still a good wide receiver.
Agreed.
Um, I think Aaron Rodgers is at that time where he's not good anymore, and he's 40. That's expected. That's supposed to happen. But whenever we just saw Salah get fired, and then they come into this next game without their coach, with this new wide receiver. He and it's a receiver that he's used to. Like, yeah, it's been a couple of years, but he's still used to Devontae Adams. Three receptions
Lazard
on nine
too as
targets,
well.
not able to hit him. He has Alan Lazard, who he's used to. Yeah, no, I think this isn't a problem of personnel or coaching. I think this is Aaron Rodgers is human and doing a lot of mushrooms as well. Um, and I think he's just not Aaron Rodgers anymore. Which, yeah, it doesn't suck for me being a Bears fan. I kind of enjoy it. But it sucks if you're a Jets fan because they brought in Aaron Rodgers. You expected all of this. There were playoff and honestly championship things that were promised to you. Goes down in the first. Was it the first snap or just the first
Bro,
drive
it
of
was the
his career?
first snap. It was the first snap
Yeah,
last
literally
season.
his ACL. And then comes back this year with being like, oh, things should change. Things didn't change, and actually, I think they're worse. Which once again, coming back from a torn ACL, was it just ACL or was it more than that?
I wanna say
Was it
it
his
was
full Achilles
just.
actually?
I think it was his full Achilles because I do know it was a little bit extreme, especially for someone at his age. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know if he was 38 or 39 at that time, but just still this to have your shit just explode like that at that age is
Explode.
crazy. It exploded, bro. It's flat out exploded. When you saw the replay, you could see the pop like through his like tights, bro. I don't know, bro. It's one of those things where it's like, as you said, it is okay to not be as great as you once were at the age of 40, but there's also a point where you gotta know when to just hang it up and just appreciate what you've accomplished. Because Aaron Rodgers is a first ballot Hall of Famer without question.
Yeah, no,
I think if he was to get into like coaching or something or being like a quarterback coach, like I feel like that's probably the best thing for him at this point. I just don't think him being a player is it anymore. I feel like he just needs to give up the rings, just let someone else really develop. I do see Jordan Travis is on this roster. He is out, but he is the youngest quarterback that the Jets currently have. Like,
I don't think that's someone that's going to do it.
yeah.
Call me a hater, but I don't know. I don't want to go from an Achilles problem to an Achilles problem.
Yeah, I feel like that's I'm sort of skeptical on Jordan Travis, but I feel like the Jets, depending if you can get one more season out of Rodgers, which honestly I don't think he should, but if he does, because I have a feeling he will, they need to focus on getting a quarterback who can actually learn from Rodgers, a little bit more mobile than Rodgers, but someone that can just really go under Rodgers' wing and just learn from him because it's almost at that time anyways if Rodgers, like I said, decides to go for another year, which I think he will, but I
Do
don't
they
know.
trade for Bryce Young?
You know what's crazy? I can imagine Bryce Young in a Jets uniform. Like I can vividly see it.
Bro, that man wants to be in any uniform right now besides the
Honestly,
Carolina.
I feel like the Jets would not be too bad for Bryce. I feel like it's. I mean, obviously, any situation is better than the Carolina Panthers right now. But I can definitely see Bryce Young in that olive green, if that's what you want to call that shade of green. But I can definitely see him in that green.
I definitely call it green.
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 But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they trade for him or, well, obviously you would have to trade for him, but maybe. Maybe if there is a landing spot for Bryce Young, I can definitely see the Jets.
Mm, yeah. Um, I think that's all football things I really have besides just Deshaun Watson sucking the blood out of Cleveland and going to continue to do so even if he is injured.
Yikes.
Um, Even if they cut him, dead cap is going to be next season. His dead cap would be 172 million, and then the season after that is 99 million. So like,
Horrible.
even cutting him doesn't solve the problem. His
Horrible.
cap hit next season for the next 2 seasons, not this season, but the next two is $73 million per year. Uh, Bad situation, bad human being. Couldn't have happened to a better person. Um,
I'm not gonna vividly say it, but I do second that. And then I just find it funny that the timing of as he gets hurt, another lawsuit came out. I just found
I
that
know.
shit fucking insane, dog. Like,
Get crazy. I swear, the Browns have to be paying these women at this point to just come out and say something,
I
trying to get his entire contract voided.
like, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you, and I'm not trying to be like that, but I low key felt like that was planned or some shit,
It
bro.
has to be.
Bro, because I agree. I feel like the Browns are just like, yo, whatever you got against this man, just let's just use it and get him out so we can move on. Because
For
dude,
real.
they're stuck with his horrible contract, and there's nothing they can fucking do about it. Like,
No, because
there's
they
nothing.
restructured it. He's going to be on the books. He only plays until 2026, but even in 2027, they're still going to be paying him 27 million for that season.
And you can't just trade him. No one is going to take that. No one's gonna want Deshaun Watson. Like, you guys were the only team dumb enough to actually do it. So you guys have to live with this. So
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Jesus.
Yeah, no, life is not good to be a Browns fan. I'm glad I'm not one.
I agree. Let's go Buccaneers.
What do you want to get into next?
I just got a little bit of NBA. I don't have too much. Don't want
All
to
right.
deep dive too far into it, but we're just gonna touch up on it a little bit. I guess where do I want to start? Okay, we'll go ahead and start with I guess probably one of the most popular subjects of the off season. Um, Mr. Bronny James himself. Um,
Future MVP?
huh, 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 huh. Hilarious. Anyways, let's just. I just want to talk about Bronny a little bit. I do want to say it is a very cool thing to see LeBron and Bronny playing together, checking in together. I do think that's just an awesome full circle moment. It's pretty cool. I don't think you will ever really see anything as awesome as that again in our lifetime, especially the high levels, because LeBron is the GOAT to some people. Personally, he's my GOAT. I never watched Jordan play, so LeBron is my GOAT. But I just thought it was very cool to see that Bronny actually got to play. The news is with him. He is going to be splitting time between the South Bay Lakers, which, if you don't know, that is their G League, aka their minor league affiliate. It looks like he's going to be jumping up and down between the Lakers and South Bay while being on a standard contract. He's not on a two-way contract. It looks like that was something that was organized in his contract signing on draft night. But yeah, I just found that sort of interesting. How do you feel about Bronny? First of all, how do you think he's gonna pan out, and how do you feel about him going up and down to the G League without being on a two-way? Personally, I feel like that's a little weird. Like, I get it because it is Bronny James. You don't want to have the look of it being a two-way contract, but it technically is a two-way contract. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I feel like Bronny could be a decent role player in the league at some point. I don't know how long it will be, but what are your thoughts on Bronny?
you want my honest reaction, he's definitely not ready for the NBA. It should have been a two-way contract. He just got it to be a regular contract, so it's all guaranteed money. It's a lot more money than a two-way contract would be, and all of that. Just because Rich Paul has that advantage of, oh wait, his dad's LeBron. LeBron can actually just leave the Lakers if you don't give him this contract. I'd love for Bronny to be good, but in all honesty, he's what, 6'1", 6'2".
I think he's 6'3".
Is he?
I think.
It doesn't shoot that great, doesn't defend that great, because I mean, in terms of NBA size, he is shorter. Um, I'd like for him to be good, but I don't think will be. It says he's 6'2".
Okay.
But I don't know. I just he's in the position he is because his dad is LeBron. I just don't think it's going to end up being good for him.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Well, I don't really have too much upon Bronny. I just wanted to touch base on that a little bit. Gonna keep this a little bit short. I didn't realize how long this one was running. We're already at an hour 30.
God dang.
Yeah, goddamn. So real quick, I want to touch on another cool thing about this NBA season. Probably something I think that was one of the more exciting things all off season. As bad as that sounds, but the new LA Clippers arena is. I'm lost for words. Like, I don't want to call it like amazing because it's more than amazing, dog. I've never seen anything like that. Very interactive stadium. From what I've seen, it's cool. They have facial recognition. If you're like in a rush, you can just walk straight into the arena. They know it's you. They have very interactive things with the crowd. Like little games you can play at your seats. They have phone chargers. The LED screen looks absolutely crazy in the arena. It's low key like the Dallas Cowboys one, except just better in my opinion. And then the last thing I want to touch about with the stadium is, bro, that wall that they have is probably the dopest thing we've seen in I'm like NBA American basketball in like a minute. I love that they've taken the idea from basically having like a student section / like a wild soccer fan section. I don't know if anyone keeps up with soccer here, but normally behind like the goals they have a wild like fan section where they just go crazy to try to like distract the players as they're taking penalty kicks and things like that. I love what Steve Ballmer has done for the LA Clippers ever since he's taken over, and I think what he's doing now is a great step for the future of the NBA. I just think it's a really cool thing what the Clippers have going on there. The team may not be what it was last season or a couple seasons ago, but I definitely think with what he's done there, he's definitely done enough to keep the fans intrigued and involved there, even with the roster being what it is.
No, I think the Intuit Dome is a great thing. I think it's a good time for him to do it whenever they get rid of Paul George. I don't know if Kawhi Leonard has too much time left, so it's definitely a stadium that seems like all these players are talking great about it through just one game of seeing it. It's definitely going to make people want to come to LA to play for the Clippers. I want to say it's probably the best arena in basketball. Obviously, like if you bring history and stuff into it, you have to talk about Boston, you have to talk about New York. But overall, like just raw arena, I think it's the best in basketball. I don't know how the locker rooms are, honestly. I haven't heard anything about that, but I could see a lot of people wanting to go and play for Steve Ballmer and the Clippers just because of this arena.
Yeah, I honestly, what he's built over there in terms of like the fan base and just keeping people involved, it's honestly something that a lot of other GMs and teams should like sort of take into account. I always thought like having like a little fan section for like your diehard crazy fans was always like a good idea. It's cool to see Ballmer actually doing that and implementing it, and he's showing, yo, this is actually effective. I've never seen Kevin Durant miss 2 free throws in my life. And he missed them playing against the what's it called, Clippers.
Yeah, and then
Booker
he shouted it
missing,
out.
yeah, and then you had Booker missing free throws too. He even commented saying that the wall is honestly like a good distraction. Like it was tough to stay focused. Like shout out to the Bomber, man. He's definitely building a great culture for those Clippers fans, and they honestly needed it. They've been living in the Lakers shadows for so long that it's good to see that they have their own like identity now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yes, they're still little brother technically in terms of record books and everything like that, but it's good to see them sort of building their own like real stadium identity. No more Lakers stuff in the arena. You know what I'm saying? It's just it's a good thing for the fan base.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
What about like championship? Like, who do you think's the champion this year?
Ooh, okay, yeah. So that's actually great. That moves to my early prediction targets. So I did have a couple teams that I do think could do it. I'm sort of gonna do it the same way we did NFL. I sort of like that where we did like our little long shot and then our one from each conference. So my long shot, that's not really a long shot, if that makes sense. I think my long shot's gonna be the Dallas Mavericks. Not to say that they don't have a chance, but you know, it's just every team and every division being so stacked. The Western Conference, as always, is not gonna be a joke. You have to be on your A game every single night for 82 games. And I do think the addition of Clay is going to be helpful down the road. If he could stay consistent and find himself in Dallas again. But I do like just what the Mavericks have going on. Luka, if he's having an off night, he can go dish it to Kyrie. If Kyrie's having an off night, he can go dish it to Luka. And they're both going to have help with having Clay on the roster. Why am I blanking on names? Who's on the roster? Who is their center? Who is the center? Who's the center?
Lively.
Derek Lively. Yeah, Derek Lively had a great rookie year last year. He got some playoff experience. I feel like he's gonna come back hungry next year. I just sort of like what they have. They also have PJ Washington. PJ Washington is another one of those guys where if he's playing good, he's definitely great for your team. Last year he was definitely making his name in the playoff, showing that hey, I can play playoff basketball. Just because I've been in Charlotte my whole career doesn't mean I can't play. So he definitely showed up for them. So I have Dallas as my long shot team. They aren't my favorites, but I think they could do it. And then my favorite, we're just gonna stay in the West. My favorite out the West, a little bit of a wild pick, but I like the OKC Thunder. I feel like they had a great season last year. I don't see why they can't keep improving off of it. Shea, I feel like is going to have another MVP caliber type season. I feel like Chet's gonna take another big step. J-Dub is gonna keep getting better and being a good third option, just a good option for that team. They did also get Alex Caruso. I do like Caruso being there. That adds defense to help out Dort. They just have a pretty solid roster. I do like what the Thunder have. They are young, but I do have them as my favorite to make it. Oh, and they also got Isaiah Hardenstein, another great piece that they picked up in the offseason. Hardenstein's a good quality center. It's definitely gonna help out there and just be a good defensive piece for them. So I do like Hart. Sorry, I do. I do like Hardenstein, but I do like the Thunder out the West. And then out the East, my bias pick is gonna be the Orlando Magic. We'll always pick them as my bias team, but my realistic, but my realistic pick, I feel like it's sort of hard to go against them, honestly. But but I am gonna go with the Boston Celtics. They're
Mm.
just such a good complete team. They basically been on the cusp of finals and clinching a championship for I don't know how many years now, but they've basically been there looming for a while now. They finally got it done last season. I feel like they didn't lose too much last season, or sorry, they didn't lose really much in the off season. Still a very solid team. They came out smacking the Knicks on opening night. I feel like Tatum has a chip on his shoulder from not playing in the Olympics. Jaylen Brown's gonna have a chip on his shoulder from not making the Olympics at all. I just feel like Boston. Wow, I'm sorry. I'm just mixing my words together. Been talking for too long, but I feel like Boston is a very motivated team for all the right reasons, and they haven't lost any fire under them. So I think Boston's gonna be my Eastern Conference team. And if I had to choose between the matchup between OKC and Boston, I say Boston goes back to back. I just like what they have going on there, and once they get KP, aka Kristaps Porzingis, back, that's just another weapon they have to deal with. So
Yeah, I wish I could do the same like we did with the NFL of saying East and a West team. I think there's only one option. I think Boston's just going to rule the league again this year. They're just too good. They retained everything that mattered. Uh, the Celtics really got something there. It's just whenever you have a rotation of Drew, Jalen, Derek White, Jason Tatum, you have Tingus Pingus, Korstaps, Porzingis, Al Horford. It's just hard to stop. Like even like Peyton Pritchard is a really good player. Luke Cornett does his weird jump up high in the sky thing. It all
effective
just
though.
it affects. People have said it does. The only thing that I could say besides the Boston Celtics is a complete overreaction to how good Klay Thompson did during the Dallas game. In Dallas being my team out of the West, is Klay Thompson. Whenever I want to say shooting wise, Kyrie and Luka really didn't perform. It was against the Spurs, of course, so take it with a grain of salt. But Clay put up 22 points on 6 of 10 shooting from three. If he can do that, if that's who he is, if he's back to Game 6 Clay form, it's hard to not say Dallas as a contender, just due to if they had Clay in that champion or in the finals last season against Boston, it would have been a lot more competitive. But still, even with Clay, I think Boston just rules the league. I don't think there's a better constructed team in the league. I don't think there's been a better constructed team in the league since the big three in Miami or since the big like 6-peat Bulls. Well, not 6-peat, but 3-peat and then 3-peat Bulls.
Technically 6P, but yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It technically was a 6P. It's okay to say that.
But there's just not a better team construction than Boston right now. I've honestly been very much out of the loop of basketball, but Boston just still is. It's just you're not gonna beat them until that core dissolves, which I don't know contract situation. I know Jason and Jalen are there together for the long haul, but whenever Drew falls, whenever Chris stops, whenever Derek White falls, I think that's whenever everything too falls. And two, Al Horford, he has to retire at some point. Whenever he goes, I think a big part of that team goes, being there for so many seasons.
Hey, my guy is 38 years old and still playing productive basketball. I just want to say shout out to Al Horford.
Consistent player. He's played the same exact game since college,
and it's been effective ever since college, bro. Shout out to Al Horford for making his
I don't know
NBA
if
career
he's
last
ever
this long, bro.
improved since college, but I know he's never declined.
Exactly, and that's what I mean, bro. As long as he doesn't get worse, he's fine, bro. He's been how many seasons has Horford been in the league? I want to see. Shout out to Horford, man. Shout out to Horford. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Wild.
Shout out to him, bro. And also, I just want to say another shout out. Shout out to my guy Yuki, bro. I'm not gonna bother saying his last name, but the Memphis Grizzlies signed this guy from the FIBA tournament. He played for Japan and balled out against France. And honestly, he's been a fan favorite. He's just been fun. He has a good personality. I like his game. He has very slick passing, and he's also like my same build. My dog is 5'8", 159 pounds. So shout out to the smaller guys out here in the NBA. Shout out to y'all.
Do you have anything more NBA wise?
Nah, just basically that. If I had a too early MVP, I'ma just give it to Shea. But that's really all I got. It's just a too early MVP, and that's it. I feel like Shea was close last year. I feel like if he stays on the same killer path and mentality that he stays on, if he just can keep that going, I don't see why they don't give it to him. I mean, that's just my early favorite. I can't see who's stopping him.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
But yeah, that's everything I got, bro.
With how long it is, I did want to talk about hockey a little bit. Just wanted to do a quick thing. Jeremy Swayman, worth that contract? Doesn't look like it. Crazy. I am glad that Jeremy Swayman got paid, but who is he not playing the greatest since that contract? But moving on, Winnipeg Jets, apparently the greatest team to ever play hockey, 7-0 to start out the season. Obviously going to win the championship. In all actuality, I think the Rangers are the best team. I think it's Shesterkin's year to finally win it, being the best goalkeeper in the league. And yes, I will gladly say he is the best goalkeeper in the league. And then my final thing is just Mikko Rantanen for MVP. Fuck all of you that say no.
You heard it here, folks. Fuck all of you guys who say no. You pussy ass bitches.
Fight me.
Fight them and me. I don't know who that is because I'm still learning about hockey, but I'll still fight y'all.
You want to take a guess at the team?
What's his name?
Mikko Rantanen.
Oh, I feel like I've seen this in his name. Can I get a conference? It's not like it's gonna help me. Okay, is Dallas a Western Conference team?
Yes, they are.
Is it Dallas?
No.
Ah, fuck.
Colorado.
Damn. Okay. All right. Damn. It was somewhat midwestern-ish. Nah, I was totally off.
Close enough.
Close enough.
No, their conferences are confused. I mean, even Chicago's in the Western Conference in hockey.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, isn't there 4 different conferences? Like, they really break it down.
4 divisions in each conference.
Okay. That's sort of what I get confused about.
Final thing, I guess, is baseball. Yankees Dodgers World Series. Right now, the Yankees are going into the bottom of the 8th with a 2-1 lead. Who do you think is going to win this series?
Personally, I would love Shohei to win. Just because I do want to see Shohei get one. But I feel like this might be the Yankees' time, bro. I feel like the Yankees are one of those teams where it's like they sort of have to win a championship every once in a while. Same thing with like the Los Angeles Lakers. I just feel like every once in a while they just have to win a chip and just, keep their name there as a top dog. And I feel like this year could be the year. Personally, I would have wanted a New York versus New York World Series. I feel like that would have been chaos and just crazy fun. But I'm not mad at what it is. My heart says Dodgers, but my mind and me being real, I'm probably going to go Yankees here. And I think the Dodgers come back next year.
I think it's the Dodgers. I think in a game like this right now, it's 2-1. Dodgers are winning. I think the Yankees have the better healthy starting pitching, and if they can keep the games close like this, they're going to win it. Dodgers, I think, if they had a fully healthy team, I mean, you have Tyler Glass now pitching, you'd have Shohei Ohtani pitching, you had Clayton Kershaw here, you'd have Dustin May here. They don't have any of them pitching. but you're still all the way over here, and it's because you have the best hitters. You have Otani, who's going absolutely insane this playoffs. You have Max Muncy going absolutely insane these playoffs. Mookie Betts going crazy. Kike Hernandez is going crazy. Just all these guys. It's hard for me to say they can't whenever they have so much batting. And obviously the Yankees do too. They have Juan Soto. They have Giancarlo Stanton going crazy. Um, why am I for Aaron Judge hasn't been playing the greatest baseball, but he can kick it up at any point. It's hard to say no to either team. I feel like the better team is the Dodgers, which is why I'm going to stick with them. But this game one, obviously going to these final innings, Yankees still have the lead. And right now it is in LA. If the Yankees win this game, you kind of take over home field advantage in that case. And it's going to be hard for the Dodgers to crawl back if they lose that home field advantage. But overall, still my pick is the Dodgers.
Oh, whoops. Okay, sorry. We're going to say that because I had to mute myself for a second. So
I heard you.
yeah, but the podcast didn't hear me. So
they need to hear you.
yeah, they must hear this gospel. But anyways, I was gonna say I basically agree with you. I feel like the Dodgers are they're just made out of money, bro. They have so much backing with them, investors wise. They have such a solid team built. There's no real reason why they shouldn't be able to get it done this year. I feel like they're right on schedule with all their moves that have been made. As of late to get this team to where they are. So while I do think yes they might win, I don't know. It's just something about it just makes me feel like the Yankees might steal this for some odd reason. Not sure.
And you did say that you would have wished the Mets were here. I did have somebody tell me that was a Yankees fan that they wanted the Dodgers to beat the Mets because if there is even a chance that the Mets could beat the Yankees in the World Series, that they would kill themselves. So
yeah, I was about to say, bro, Yankees fans would.
Energy, even though the Dodgers are the better team, it might be good for them that the Dodgers are.
That's fair because I feel like Yankees fans would not be able to live if Mets fans could say, hey, you remember the 1 year where we actually won a World Series over you guys? Like, I don't think they could stomach that.
Brother.
Yeah, facts. I don't think they could stomach that, bro. So you're right.
Shohei just hit a double.
Shohei.
He's going to third. He's on third with one out. That's crazy.
Jesus, what a dog, bro.
Oh my gosh, this is a crazy game. Yeah, it's gonna go down to the wire.
Well,
but yeah, that's all I really got for the pod. I think that's all sports. You got anything fencing wise, NASCAR?
Yes. So I'm gonna go play NASCAR, and I'm gonna go turn left, and I'm gonna go turn left, and I'm gonna make another left, and then.
Are you gonna go right?
Fuck no! If I go right,
brother.
If I go right, I'm crashing into a wall, brother.
Amen.
But no, I got nothing else. We've basically turned one of our IRL conversations really into the pod. That was a good 2-hour chop up. Yeah, I got nothing else to add. Just want to say UCF, you guys better get it together. I'm tired of y'all playing losing football and losing in literally the worst ways possible. So please figure it out. LSU, Kyron Lacey, please calm the fuck down. You are too gang affiliated. Great player, but son, you need to take a chill pill. God damn. And that's all I got.
I don't know if you remember what you started last week, but do you have your random player?
Ooh. Okay. I didn't have one planned, but I can give you one right now because I don't know why.
You want to start off with mine?
Yes.
All right, what's the first hint you would like about this player? Are we
Sport.
doing like 3 hints and then we guess?
Yeah, 3 hints.
Football.
Okay. Conference.
I want to make sure I get this right. I should know this.
Like
Um,
conference of like you can say prime years or something. Like I don't know.
NFC North.
Okay, NFC North. Okay. Damn, my third hint.
We could do 4 too if you think 3
Okay.
is too good.
Okay, I'm gonna get 4. Active
Okay.
player.
No.
Okay.
I don't think I'll ever do an active player on this.
Okay. Let me see. You said NFC North, right?
Yeah.
Let me see. Okay, is it a Chicago Bears player?
No.
Okay, my guess is going to be Jared Allen of the Minnesota Vikings.
Oh, it was of the Minnesota Vikings, but it's Christian Ponder of the Minnesota Vikings.
Wow, okay.
Former Florida State quarterback.
Christian
Led the
Ponder,
Vikings
bro.
to one good season, 10-6 season.
That is fucking funny, bro.
Of course, that team was carried by Adrian Peterson, but he was on it. And this team was also carried a lot by the guy you just said, Josh Allen.
Jared Allen.
Getting a bunch of sacks. Jared Allen getting a bunch of sacks.
Jesus, that's actually funny. That's actually hilarious. All right, I got mine. I'm good to go whenever you are for
Right.
mine.
Sport.
Football.
College.
Texas.
Position.
Running back.
You said from Texas?
Yes. See, your questions and my questions are so different. Mine are just so general, and yours are college, position, like demanding ass questions.
What was the best year he played?
Ooh. Okay, that's a tough one. You could say, oh, he didn't play that season. I just low key gave you a hint. I would say his best season. Oh wait, sorry, I just had all of his stats pulled up. His best season I would say probably his 2002. It was definitely his 2002 season.
2002 Texas, bro. Mookie Betts just hit in Shohei Ohtani, by the way.
I was
Tied
gonna
up 2-2
I was
with
gonna say
2 out.
Mookie is not my option.
2002 running back from Texas.
He was low key one of my favorite players as a child, if not my favorite player.
Your favorite in that kid, Ladanian. He didn't go. No, he went to TCU. That's a different Texas.
Almost.
Oh, fuck.
You are scorching though. LT used to be one of my favorite players, bro. The dark visor and the fucking touchdown flip. I used to fucking love that shit as a kid.
Did Ricky Williams go there? Is it Cadillac?
Ding 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 ding.
Cadillac.
No. Ricky.
Wait, no.
Ricky.
Wait, are Ricky and Cadillac two different people?
Yeah, no. You said Ricky
I thought they were
Williams.
the same people.
No. Cadillac Williams is
That's
someone
the one that
totally
was on the
else.
Dolphins, right? Or
Yeah.
the Saints.
Yes.
Was he
Yeah.
on both?
Yes, he was on both. He got drafted by the Saints and then he went to the Dolphins.
Yeah. Whoever this like Mike Ditka spent $1 million picks on.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, Ricky used to be one of my favorite players, and then he got suspended for a season for smoking the weed.
The weeds.
But yes, sir, I'm pretty sure he's a former Heisman winner. His 2002 season, which was his best season, he did rush for 1,800 yards, 16 touchdowns, and he did win Offensive Player of the Year. So shout out
It's a
to
lot of yard.
to Ricky, man. He was killing it back in the day before he before
It's always
before he just sort of fucked himself over, unfortunately. But a
at
great
least before
prime.
he got caught with weeds.
Yeah. A great prime though. I used to love picking the Dolphins in like Madden 04 just just for him.
But yeah, in that case, shout out Ricky Williams. Shout out Christian Ponder. Fuck Deshaun Watson and go vote.
Yes, please go vote. You have a power, you have a right. Utilize that shit. So definitely make your voice heard.
Yeah, don't care who you vote for, just do it.
Facts. Agreed.
All right.
All right. Well, this was Eurosteppin. Kevin said peace. I say peace. Shout out to all the moms, the grandmas, the aunties. I'm joking. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about later.